So nakikita na ba yung screen? I hope, no? Okay, so to continue our discussion as regard to love life of Rizal, sabi ko nga si Olympia, yung unang naging kakilala niyang babae, no, or what na in love, and then followed by Olympia, we have Leonor Valenzuela. So wag na natin masyadong elaborate, no, and then si Leonor Rivera, wherein pinsan niya from Kamiling, pero siya parang naging girlfriend niya talaga, no. And then from Leonor Rivera, nandiyan si Nelly Bosted. Siya, dito naman, nag-propose si Rizal na pakasalin si Bosted. Kaya lang, what happened, of course, hindi na naging successful yung proposal ni Rizal, no? As regard kay what we call Nelly Bosted. And then from Nelly Bosted, we have yan. In Japan, na-meet niya si Osei-san o si Seiko Uzuwa. Naging friend din niya, no? So most of them, hindi naman niya talaga, hindi naman niya naging girlfriend or naging kaano niya, no? Somehow they are only friend. And then si this one in Germany, no, when nag-board siya, mga mga sa Germany, sina Suzanne, no? Kay Suzanne. And then of course, another, in his life, no, si Joseph Braken when he was in the Pitan. And the other one, of course, na-meet din niya in his travel, parang naging friend niya, no, si Gertrude Beckett, the Beckett, no, sisters yun, no, yung isa si Suzanne, okay? So to continue, yan, okay, so from the Philippines, no, yun nga, yung travel ni Rizal noong 1882 from the Philippines, 1882, no, the Philippines, from 1882 to 1887, Rizal traveled, no, nag-travel siya or spend his life in Spain. So gaya na nakwento kanina, no. So bago siya makarating ng Spain, of course, ang dami niyang stopover. Yeah, stopover in Singapore. Then from Singapore, we have from Aden. Then from Aden, we have the hottest city na describe niya. Nakarating din siya ng Sri Lanka, yung of course sa Colombo, and then from Sri Lanka and so on. But when he spent his life in Spain from 1882 to 1887, as I mentioned a while ago, so doon niya nag-join sa Círculo Hispano-Filipino. At the same time, this is also the time wherein he was involved, no, in what we call in the propaganda movement, what we call yung La Solidaridad. But La Solidaridad at the time is not yet founded, no. But Filipino at the time, they are in Madrid, no, nag-aaral. At dito rin niya sinimulan isulat noong 1884 yung kanyang nobelang No Limit Angere. Wherein, originally, dapat hindi lang siya yung magsusulat, no? And from Madrid, Barcelona, Spain, nakarating siya ng Paris, France in 1885 to 1886. So dito, he already earned its degree, no, sa ophthalmology. Parang nag-intern din siya, i-practice, no, its ophthalmology, wherein observed the different diseases of women in what we call in Paris in what Lavoisier Hospital, no? And of course, hindi lang sa isang beses nakarating ng Paris. So from there, when he was in Paris actually, may isang parang incident na nangyari. So the Parisian, they thought he was a Japanese, no? So bagay, may Japanese ancestor naman siya, no? So then, of course, for being accused as a Japanese na parang spy, and then he told them that he is not a Japanese but a Filipino, no? Okay? Now, from Paris, nakarating siya ng Germany, yung kanina, no? So the first place that he has visited in Germany, we have yung Heidelberg University. He tried to practice its course in ophthalmology kay Dr. Otto Becker, no? in Paris actually, na-meet din yan dyan, no? Another, kay Dr. Louis de Weckert, wherein he practices ophthalmology, no? And then in Germany, in Universidad Central de Madrid, rather, in Germany, in Heidelberg University, so kay Dr. Otto Becker, okay? To continue. Now, so in 1887, umuwi siya sa Pilipinas after he finished writing its novel Noli Me Tangere, no? Actually, the reason why he went home, of course, gusto niya makita yung pamilya niya. At the same time, he want to know, no, to investigate the problem in Calamba, particularly sa agriculture. Same thing, gusto niyang makita yung epekto ng nobela niya. But we will elaborate that in when we talk about Noli Me Tangere. So nung nasa Pilipinas siya, almost 6 months lang siya sa Calamba, no? So later on from the Philippines, the second sojourn, so babalik siya ng Spain, or what we call, yes, in Spain. So 1887, no, in the month of February, nakarating siya ng Hong Kong, February 8. Pero bago siya nakarating ng Hong Kong, nakarating muna siya sa China, yung sa Xiamen. Pero in Xiamen, hindi siya bumaba kasi parang madumi daw yung lugar, no? And then in Hong Kong, sumakay sila ng bangka na together with yung Yukyang, and then pumunta sa kasama niya si Jose Basa, no, that time they went in Macau. And then na-meet nila si Don Pedro Lecaros in Macau, herbologist siya doon, no? And then from Hong Kong, pumunta siya ng Japan. So in Japan, he tried to improve in Japanese language. Kaya parang nahihirapan siya, no, to improve its Japanese language. So ang tumulong sa kanya para ma-improve yung kanyang Japanese language ay si what we call si Osei-san, no, or Seiko Usui. Actually, Osei-san was a name given by Rizal kasi parang ina-address niya si Osei-san as his teacher. Kasi di ba, sensei, it's referring to a master or a teacher, no? So in Japan, nung nag-stay siya, he learned the culture of Japan. Of course, nalaman yung kwento about the kabuki, the different art of Japanese, natutunan din kay Seiko Usui, no? Yung paint, pag-paint using what we call yung ink. And then he traveled many places also in Japan, no? So, nung nasa Japan siya, tumira siya sa Spanish legation. Kasi nung nasa Hong Kong siya, pinasundan siya, no? He was investigated, no, kung anong ginagawa niya doon. He was spy by what we call si Zaes, no? He was spy by Zaes. Now, in Japan, from Japan, nag-travel siya ng US. So, when he was in United States, ito yung nangyayari. There is an outbreak or what we call parang pandemya. There is a pandemic. And the pandemic, it's something to do with cholera. So we call that as the cholera outbreak in that time, 1887. So bago siya bumaba ng barko, so the means of transportation that time, it's only through ship, no? Na sakay ng barko from Japan, no? They were quarantined, no? In-quarantine muna sila, hindi sila pinapaba. Pero later on, na-discover ni Rizal that the quarantine is not actually intended as a cholera quarantine, but rather to hide the what we call the coolies, may mga Chinese pala na galing China na to be nadadaan sa America. Of course, that's a form of exploitation. And also there are some what we call na mga kontrabando na hindi dapat makapasok sa United States or USA. Of course, when he was in United States, nakita niya siyempre, yung Statue of Liberty. And I think you are familiar about the Statue of Liberty, no? Yung Statue of Liberty is a gift from the people of France. So to commemorate the what we call the friendships of United States and France, no? And dinala yan sa US nung as early as 1872, no? As early 1872, and then 1876, of course, that was the time, no? June 4, tama ba? 4th of July, sorry. July 4, 1876, that was the time, the first or that was the year wherein the United States commemorate its independence. No, naka-engrave yan, no? Naka-engrave yan sa hawak-hawak na libro ni Liberty na ginawa yan ni Bertolli, no? Henry Bertolli, the French sculptor. Nung dinala sa US yan, hati-hati. No? In US also, of course, may comment siya, no? Sabi niya, when he was in the United States, kasi sinasabi na there's freedom or napakalaya daw ng United States. Pero in his assessment, sabi niya, freedom is only for the white Americans, sabi niya. Kasi the black are also are not given equal rights. So meron pa rin discrimination. Okay? So from the United States, no, noong April 28, 1887, so pumunta na siya ng London, no? In London, sa Liverpool. So, then from Liverpool, bumalik siya ng Europe. From May 1887 to June 1887, of course, side story to, no? Nung kasing piniprint ni Rizal, nung gusto niya i-print yung nobela ng Noli Me Tangere, hindi niya ma-print, wala siyang pera. So, tinulungan siya ng isang Pilipinong kaibigan niya, no? Si from Bulacan, no? Tinulungan siya. And then of course, as a treat, they traveled together in different places in Europe, no? So hindi ko muna i-elaborate about that. So we discuss yung Noli Me Tangere, no? So it's granted in Europe May 17, 1887. Okay? Kay kasama niya si Maxim Buviola, the sponsor of Noli Me Tangere. So nakarating sila ng Germany, no? First travel nila, it was in Germany. So in Germany, nung nandun sila, of course, he witnessed, napasinig sa isang painting, yung painting na Prometheus Bound, no? And then from Germany, no, nakarating sila ng Prague in Czech Republic. Doon nakarating sila ng Prague. And then here, he visited the tomb of Copernicus, no? Kasi sa Prague si Copernicus. And of course, yung ni patron saint nila, si Saint Neponceno, no? Then from Prague, nakarating sila ng Vienna, Austria. Actually, in Austria, no, nung nakarating siya doon, prior to Austria, nakarating siya ng Lemeritz, no? That is also part of Austria. Yung Lemeritz, in Lemeritz, he visited his friend. First time niyang na-meet si what we call Ferdinand Blumentritt. Actually, they want to surprise him that time eh. Kaya na matanda na, hindi na pala pwedeng surprise. Na-learn niya kay kay what we call yung favorite editor niya, no, si Jagor, yung author ng The Travels in the Philippines. And then na-learn niya kay Dr. Fyodor Jagor na hindi pwedeng i-surprise si Rizal. Kaya yun, they telegram him, no. Then, nung nasa, of course, in Vienna, marami siyang na-experience. Dito niya na-experience yung high mass. And then, of course, na-witness din niya yung paggamit ng paper napkin in Vienna, Austria. From Vienna, Austria, of course, ang dami niya ng tinravel, pabalik-balik sa Austria, then going back to Germany, no? So, nakarating din siya ng Nuremberg. From Nuremberg, nakarating din siya ng Dresden. Of course, yun ang first lugar na pinunta niya sa Germany, second travel in Dresden. And then from Vienna, Austria, of course, in Vienna, Austria, Rizal celebrated yung kanyang birthday together with Maximo Viola. But in Vienna, Austria, hindi na sumama si Viola sa kanya. And Rizal continued to travel in Italy. So he visited the places in Italy like Milan, Vienna, Florence, no? So and then Rome. So many places, no, that he visited in Italy. Okay, continue. So from its last travel in Italy, no, nung nasa Italy siya. So from Italy, after the Grand Tour of Rizal, 1887, saan siya pumunta? Okay. So probably bumalik siya ng So from US, actually, from US, pumunta siya ng London, no? So first place of course, he want to improve its English daw in London. Unang-una siyang nakarating sa London in Liverpool. Pero ano ba yung intention niya? Bakit siya pumunta sa London? Of course, he want to work on the book of Dr. Antonio de Morga, yung Successos de las Filipinas. So pumupunta siya sa different library, yung mga bibliotoke. So yun. So in London, he searched the library in London and then to find out kung ano yung meron sa work ni Dr. Antonio de Morga. And when he is searching, so ganito katsaga yung mga tao nun, no? I-copied, no? Unwritten. So every now and then, every time he visit the library, sinusulat niya yung annotation niya as regard to what we call yung Successos de las Filipinas. From London, again, bumalik siya ng Spain. Bakit siya bumalik ng Spain in 1888? So from Calamba kasi, na-discover niya yung problem, no? And that problem is something to do with agrarian problem. So in Spain, particularly in Madrid, they went in the Spanish Cortes to appeal, no, against the what we call against kay the Governor General that time is what we call si Valeriano Weyler, no. Kaya na-meet niya dito sa Spain that time ay si Marcelo H. del Pilar, parang lawyer niya. But their appeal, hindi siya nag-succeed. No? Bakit? Kasi wala silang dalang gift sa parang reyna. So that time, walang king, but there's only queen, si Queen Regina. Dapat magiging king, it's si Alfonso XIII, kaya lang bata pa siya, kaya the position on the death of the King Alfonso XII ay yung kanyang asawa, si Queen Regina Arianeta, and so on, no? When he was in Spain, Madrid that time, dito rin maraming conflict. Dito niya nakaaway si Antonio Luna, no? Kasi nagselos si Antonio Luna as regard to the kay Nelly Bosted. Gusto rin pala ni Antonio Luna si Antonio Bosted, no? So muntik na siya mag-away. And also in Spain, nagalit din siya sa kanyang first biographer. Siyempre, dati hindi pa niya biographer, si Wenceslao Retana. Kasi si Retana in La Epoca, a newspaper in Madrid, simulat niya doon sa kanyang article that Rizal lost their properties o yung house na, their house is confiscated because they failed to pay the rent, no? To pay the rent, sorry. Okay? Kaya nagalit kay Wenceslao Retana. So inamon ni Wenceslao, sunod duelo, no? And it's legal. So kung may namatay, walang kaso. Kaya lang, of course, hindi naman natuloy yon, no? Kasi nung yung kay Rizal and Luna, kung natuloy daw, if they fought with revolver o yung baril, matatalo si Rizal. But if they fought with swords o kaya fencing, matatalo si Luna. No? So na-learn din ni Wenceslao Retana na hindi siya mananalo kay Rizal. So kaya yung challenge hindi niya in-accept. Then later on, Wenceslao Retana became admirer ni Rizal. So kaya nga yung unang book, no. So this is based only on my reading, no, or pinakaunang account as regard to the life and work of Rizal, yung nagsulat ay si Wenceslao Retana, and it was written in Spanish. Escritos y vida de Señor Jose Rizal, no? So, writings and life of Dr. Jose Rizal. And I think most Filipino authors, yun ang ginamit nila. Of course, sa kay Retana, ang dami pang mga naging author ni Rizal, no? Okay. Or rather, naging biographer niya. Nandiyan si Austin Craig, no? Austin Costes, no? Those are some of his earliest biographer of Rizal. Kaya may kwento, no? Now, from Madrid, Spain, bumalik siya ng Paris. But when he returned to Paris to stay in the Paris in 1889, medyo nahirapan na siya na makahanap ng boarding house or something para matirahan niya kasi naging busy yung Paris that time because of what we call yung Paris Exposition, no? So the Paris Exposition, ito yung parang universal exposition lahat ng mga may yaman, they gathered in Paris to witness or to see the Eiffel Tower. Kasi bago pa lang yung Eiffel Tower noon, kaya isa sa mga parang attraction, no? Parang tinitignan. So dahil sa dami ng mga tao, hindi makaano si Rizal. And during the time, of course, this is the time wherein he founded, no? Different club, yung Indus Bravos, na I mentioned a while ago, yung Kidlat Club, yung Kidlat, kaya Kidlat madali lang na mawala, and then, or madali siya, kahit kung baga temporary lang siya, and then yung Redemption de los Malayos. Those are the three club or founding organization of Rizal when he was in Paris. Okay? To continue. Now, from Paris, France, of course, this is from 1889 to 1891, no? So in Paris, France, natapos na niya yung, natapos na niya yung kanyang work. So nakarating siya ng Brussels, Belgium. So he moved in Brussels, Belgium, instead of staying in what we call staying in Paris, kasi nagtitipid siya, no? From one reason, it's for what we call, it's something to do with its finances. Kaya nag-move siya ng Belgium. When he was in Belgium, napaprint niya yung yung third book niya, yung Successos de las Pilipinas. So in Belgium, na-meet niya dyan si Alejandrino. And of course, from Belgium, again, pumunta siya ng Madrid, no? So probably dito nung 1890. So ito pala yung mga sinasabi ko kanina, no? So yan si Retana, Luna, of course Regina, and then si Whaler. So yung a while ago na mention ko kanina. Now, from here, natapos na niya he started writing the novel El Filibusterismo in 1887, and then he finished that in 1891, no? So actually, prior from Gent, Belgium, pumunta din siya sa what we call in other places in Germany. And this is also the time na nag-propose siya kay Nelly Bosted, no? Oo, kaya lang hindi na-busted siya kay Nelly Bosted, no? Yun. And in Gent, Belgium, dito niya pinaprint yung kanyang nobelang El Filibusterismo. Again, katulad ng nangyari sa Noli Me Tangere, wala na naman siyang pera. Then, again, may umako na naman sa finances. And then, here it's a kapampangan, no? Si Valentin Ventura. Okay, from Gent, Belgium, of course, ang dami na nangyari sa kanya. Hindi ko na lang dinidetail, no? So when he finished writing its novel, El Filibusterismo, he also had argument with Marcelo H. del Pilar. Nag-agawan sila sa posisyon na tinatawag na responsable or the president of the La Solidaridad. Kaya lang, si Rizal actually in Madrid at the time, he won the vote, no? Nanalo siya. Na-divide kasi mga Pilipino in Madrid. We have the Rizalista and the Pilarista. So that time, nung natalo siya, siguro medyo nagtampo siya or nagdandam, what we call stop, no, or cease its contribution in La Solidaridad. Dahil yung La Solidaridad at that time was the patriotic newspaper, hindi na si Graciano Lopez yung nagmamanage, kundi si Marcelo H. del Pilar. And then, nakiusap si Marcelo H. del Pilar na to resume its writing or ituloy, huwag niyang ipastop. Ganun din, no? Yung kanyang nakukuhang compensation, sinulatan din niya si what we call Arellano, Diodato Arellano, na stop na yung kanyang nakukuhang compensation in La Solidaridad. And that time, he wrote each friend kay Jose Basa na nasa Hong Kong naman. Sabi niya parang he wanted to practice, no, yung ophthalmology, yung kanyang natapos sa Universidad Central de Madrid. So from in Hong Kong, no, Hong Kong to Philippines, December 1881 to June 1892. So ano ba nangyari sa kanya dito? November 20, 1891, nakarating na siya ng Hong Kong. So this is the first hindi pala first time. This is the second time na nakarating siya sa Hong Kong, then na-meet niya si Jose Basa, no? March 7, 1892, while he was in Hong Kong, kasi nga yung Calamba problem, yung land, pumunta siya ng Sandakan to negotiate to the British authorities. Gusto niya sana yung Borneo that time, no? Gusto niya yung Borneo maging part siya ng or what I mean, makolonize siya ng mga Spaniard. And i-ask si Governor General Despuhol, Eulogio Despuhol, na i-colonize yung Borneo, and then yung mga nawalan daw ng lupain sa Calamba, dadalhin sila doon. Kaya lang this Borneo project, hindi naman siya naging successful, no? June 21, 1892, again, he wrote to, okay, June 21, 1892, medyo advanced lang to ng konti. So from Hong Kong, uuwi siya ng Pilipinas. Actually, yung mga parent niya ayaw siyang pauwiin kasi may mga alam na nila na may balak yung Spanish government na somehow ulihin siya. Yun nga, no? June 21, 1892, si Governor General Despuol nag-file siya ng a secret case filed in Manila to accuse Rizal for being anti-religious and anti-patriotic. So, nung bago sa dakpin, no, before he has been arrested, nag-investigate muna sila, no? Luis de la Torre was tasked to investigate Rizal's German citizenship. Kasi nung ang tagal ni Rizal sa Germany, so baka daw naging German citizen na siya. Kung naging German citizen na siya, hindi siya huhulihin, no? So, they found out hindi din-announce ni Rizal yung pagiging Pilipino niya or Indio, no? So after that, ano nangyari? In July 7, 1892, a magazine or a gazette in the Philippines, yung Gaceta de Manila, published the story of Rizal, how he was arrested, kung paano siya dinakip, no? So from Hong Kong, pag-uwi niya, kasama niya yung kanyang kapatid, no, si si Lucia, and then dinakip siya, no? So yun nga, no, noong June 26, 1892, so backward tayo, balik natin from July. So Rizal arrived in Manila together with Lucia. So this is the time. Okay. So bago siya actually before he was arrested, nakapunta pa siya nakapag-attend siya ng first meeting ng mga what we call member of the what we call La Liga Pilipina, because Rizal founded La Liga Pilipina when he was in Hong Kong. Doon niya sinulat yung constitution niya, yung layunin niya, yung objective niya, at saka yung parang niya, no, yung anong tawag natin dito, yung kanilang clamor or sinashout nila, yung unus instar, no, omnium, one like all. It's a Latin, no, unus instar omnium, one like all. Wednesday, July 6, 1892, ito yung time na dinakip na si Rizal. So after he visited Pampanga, Bulacan, nakapasyal pa siya, no? On Wednesday, July 6, 1892, Rizal was arrested and incarcerated in Fort Santiago by Ramon Despuhol, no? Okay. Rather, si Ramon Despuhol, pamangkin siya ni Governor General Eulogio Despuhol. Bakit may nakalagay cross parenthesis na Pobres Priles? Yun yung ginamit na ebidensya that Rizal was anti-religious. Kasi yung Pobres Priles, sinulat yan ni ni Padre Jacinto Zamora, na wherein si Padre Jacinto Zamora parang dinalait niya, no, or parang diniscredit niya mga frailes. So parang anti-religious yung writing niya. And then of course, kung parang merong batas, kapag nakita ka na may hawak na ganon, or you have that pamphlet lang yan, no? And then you will be accused of being anti-religion or anti-religious. So the first time na nadakip si Rizal, he was accused as being anti-religious and anti-patriotic. Okay? So those things happened in 1891, no? Hanggang 1892. From the time, so nung nakulong siya sa Fort Santiago, no, bago tayo magdapitan, no, bago siya ma-exile sa dapitan, nung nakulong siya sa Fort Santiago, it was one of the punishment or something na hindi pwedeng gawin, yung hindi siya pwedeng makipag-usap. Rizal was sanction of being incommunicado. Meron pang order yung Governor General si Eulogio Despuhol that anyone see talking to Rizal will be also executed, or he will be executed, or he will be also incarcerated, or makukulong din siya. Kahit dumahan lang sa harap ng kanyang kulungan, no? So, yun. Now, from Port Santiago, so yung punishment kay Rizal, he will be exiled in Dapitan. So on July 17, 1892 to July 31, 1896, for 4 years, no? For 4 years, he was exiled in Dapitan, no? 4 years ba or more than 3 years now? 2 years, no? Okay. So July 14, 1892, si Kapitan Delgras was tasked to bring Rizal in Dapitan. So in Dapitan on July 17, 1892, so sorry, Rizal was handover kay Kapitan Ricardo Carnicero, no? That time, siyempre walang tirahan si Rizal, no? Saan siya titira sa Dapitan? Parang dinala siya doon, tinatapon siya doon, exile doon, saan siya titira? Okay. Father Rector Ramon, si Father Rector that time, no, somehow of Ateneo, nagkaroon siya ng condition kay Rizal that he was able to stay in Paris kay Father Obac, kaya lang kailangan mag-confess siya. Kaya lang Rizal din nag-agree. He rather choose to stay kay Kapitan Ricardo Carnicero, no? Kaya lang, parang swerte si Rizal, a divine intervention, no? On September 21, 1892, Rizal, together with Kapitan Carnicero and Francisco Esquilor, won the latter contest worth 20,000 pesos. Malaking pera yon that time, no? Rizal had a share of 6,200. So, doon niya sinimulan yung pamumuhay niya sa Dapitan, wherein he bought land. And then, when he was in Dapitan, he taught the youth, no? May estudyante siya doon, parang tinuturuan niya with what we call in language, in geography, anthropology, and so on. So November 3, 1892, parang may biglang bumisita sa kanya. And this is Pablo Mercado. So he introduced himself as a friend and relative of Rizal. But then later on, na-discover nila, pinatira ni Rizal sa bahay niya, na si Pablo Mercado pala ay spy, no? Pinadala siya ng mga praile. Na-discover niya yon yung kung baga nag-volunteer siya that he will send its letter, no? Siya nang magdadala ng mga letter niya. So August 28, 1893, namatay na si Rivera Kimping at dito naman niya na-meet si Josephine Bracken. Nakasama yung tito niya, si Mr. Toffer, wherein they seek medical assistance in Dapitan. So that was the time na nagkilala si Rizal and Josephine Bracken, no? And of course, he wrote, no, kay he wrote from the Ateneo priest that he wanted to marry, no, Josephine Bracken. Kaya nang may parang hindi pinayagan, no. Of course, but they promised each other. Nagkaroon sila ng anak, si Andres, si Andres, yung nasabi ko. Nagkaroon sila ng anak, pangalan Francisco, pinangalan sa father niya. Kaya lang premature siya, kaya hindi siya nag-survive, namatay din siya, no. December 17, 1895, he wrote to Ramon Blanco, no, so from Despuol, napalitan na si Eulogy Despuol ni Governor General Ramon Blanco. So that time, Rizal wanted to volunteer as a military doctor or in Cuba. Kasi in Cuba, merong war and then mataas yung pangangailangan nila as a medical volunteer. So probably, nagka-idea si Rizal na mag-volunteer dahil kay Dr. Antonio, no? Kay Dr. Antonio, and same way with what we call his friend, no? He asked him na mag-volunteer siya, no? Na in Cuba. So Rizal thought he was allowed, no? Or pinayagan siya mag-volunteer sa Cuba, but behind that, hindi pala. June 21, 1896, so si Bonifacio has a plan to start the revolution. So pinadala niya si Dr. Pio Valenzuela na nagpanggap na pasyente ni Rizal. May kasama siyang bulag, no? So siyempre, hindi ba kilalang doktor si Rizal sa mata, no? As an ophthalmologist. And they arrived in Dapitan. Kaya lang when Dr. Valenzuela asked the advice of Rizal, and Rizal advised them not to continue or not to start the revolution or wag muna, maghintay muna sila kasi inassess ni Rizal. Sabi niya, may enough funds ba sila? Are they united? Do they have the what we call yung mga elite or mayayaman that will support them, no? So, in-advise niya yung advice niya not to pursue or to do the or what we call to engage in the revolution, no? Then what happened next? On July 31, 1896, after 4 years exile, no, in the Pitan, no, so 1891 to 1896, so dumaya na Rizal. And Rizal thought that he will become a medical doctor in what we call in Cuba. So from the Pitan, on July 31, 1896, no, Rizal boarded to Espanya going to Dumaguete. Papuntang Madrid na sana yan, no? August 6, 1896, Rizal boarded the ship Castilla, and then kasama niya dito, okay, so inutos siya ni Governor General Ramon Blanco na magstay siya sa barkong Castilla para papuntang Madrid, Spain, and then going to Cuba. Okay, so Rizal thought, yun nga, no, yun nga yung plan. On August 19, 1896, yung plan ng mga Katipuneros led by Andres Bonifacio, discover yan ni Fray Mariano Hill, an Agustinian cura of Tondo, discovered the Katipunan plot to overthrow Spanish rule or what we call to engage in revolution. Paano ba na-discover ni Fray Mariano yan? One of the Katipunero na kasama sa KKK o Katipunan, parang nag-worry siya, natatakot. So he told that to his sister, no? Kaya lang yung sister niya ito, nagtatabaho siya bilang parang kasambahay na rin, no? Sa isang madre na kapatid naman ni Mariano Hill, kinuwento, no? Yun, nalaman yung plan. Kaya hindi naging successful yung first revolution, no? And when they learned the plot, or what we call the plot for revolution, si Governor General Blanco parang nagbago yung decision niya, no? So siguro at first, padadala si Rizal sa Cuba as a medical doctor. But when the revolution arose, no, so Governor General Blanco proclaimed a state war. So nagkaroon ngayon ng digmaan in Manila, Bulacan, Cavite, Batangas, Laguna, Pampanga, Nueva Ecija, Interlac, no? So these are the 8 rays of the sun, no? So yan ang mga rather 8 na probinsya, no, province and cities who somehow joined the revolution, as well revolution that Andres Bonifacio initiated, no. So that's the reason on September 2, 1896, Rizal wrote to its mother said that nung nakasakay siya sa barkong Castilla, he was transferred in Isla de Panay going to Barcelona. So Rizal has no idea. He thought he will bring in Barcelona or Madrid, then send sa Cuba as a volunteer, no, medical volunteer. On September 1886, Isla de Panay arrived in Singapore. But its friend, no, nandyan yung kaibigan niya sa Singapore, si Don Pedro Roas at Don Miguel Camus, no. So pagdating daw nila sa Singapore, tutulungan nila si Rizal na makababa sa barko. Kasi pag nakababa na si Rizal sa Singapore, hindi na siya pwedeng hulihin ng mga Kastila. Because that time, Singapore is under the colonial rule of Great Britain, no? Mga British colony siya. Kaya lang, the attempt to rescue Rizal did not succeed. Meron pa nga na nung hindi siya nag-succeed, sabi nila, tumalon na lang sa barko. Of course, di naman ginawa ni Rizal, no? So, hindi pa siya aware. And then, that time, Governor General Ramon Blanco conspired, no, secretly with the Minister of War and the colonies, wherein Rizal was accused or regarded Rizal as dangerous Filipino, and of course, the principal, or what we call, the principal or the leader of the Philippine Revolution. Kaya yun ang nangyari, no? Kung titingnan natin, if we will examine kung pagbabasihan natin itong kwento nito, dapat hindi man ma-accuse si Rizal, dapat malaya na siya, no? Kaya lang sa desisyon ni Andres Bonifacio, si Rizal ay nadawit. Bakit lalo siyang nadawit? Why Rizal was no became part of the revolution? Ang problema pa, kaya medyo yung parang si Andres Bonifacio hindi siya kinikilalang bilang matalino or something kasi nung nakikipaglaban sila, yung kanilang parang password or parang to recognize each other, they shout the name of Rizal. So while they are fighting, they shout Rizal, something like that. So siyempre naririnig ng mga yung kalaban nila, Rizal, something like that. So that's why Rizal was implicated, no? Or nadawit siya in the what we call revolution na initiate ni Andres Bonifacio. September 28, a passenger told Rizal that he will be arrested and incarcerated in Ceuta. No? So, yun, naging aware na si Rizal na makukulong siya. And on September 30, Rizal was notified by Kapitan Alimani that he will be cabin arrest. So kinulong na siya sa barko. In order yan ni Governor General Ramon Blanco. October 3, 1896, Isla de Panay arrived in Barcelona. And during that time, nakasakay niya si Governor General Eulogio de Espujol na pinalitan ni Ramon Blanco. So from Barcelona, babalik siya sa Pilipinas. No, on October 8, 1896, Rizal learned the news from Madrid newspaper blaming him on the bloody revolution in the Philippines. So siya yung pinagbintangan, no? October 11, 1896, kinuha yung diary niya. And then, before reaching Port Said, kung saan ipapaano siya, parang investigate siya or ikulong. Kaya lang, they found nothing in his diary. Kaya hindi rin nagamit yung diary niya against him, no? November 1896, binalik yung diary niya. And then, si Dr. Antonio Maria Regador, yung nag-instruct kay Rizal na mag-volunteer siya as medical doctor in Cuba, and Sixto Lopez, siya ang pinakamatangkad sa mga kaibigan ni Rizal kasi Sixto siya, no? Sorry, joke lang yun. Okay, in London, they attempted to rescue Rizal through huge port upon reaching Singapore. Si huge port, another friend nila na nasa Singapore, so pagbalik daw nila, if they stop over in Singapore, tutulungan siya ni huge port, no? Kaya lang hindi rin naging successful. On November 3, 1896, the ship Colon reached Manila. Most of these are member of the what we call the Liga Pilipina, si Deodato Arellano, Dr. Pio Valenzuela, Moises Salvador, na naging president pa, Jose Dizon, Domingo Franco, Timoteo Paez, Pedro Serrano, Lactao, and Pasiano were arrested and cruelly tortured. No? Sila naman, ginamit sila, no? They are used against Rizal to testify that Rizal is involved in the revolution or may kinalaman sila. So, ang isang nag-testify dyan ay si Dr. Pio Valenzuela. Of course, it's brother hindi. Kahit kailan, hindi niya inano yung kapatid niya, no? Kahit patayin pa siya. On November 28, 1896, preliminary investigation was initiated by Judge Advocate Colonel Francisco Olive, no? And documentary and testimonial evidences were presented. There are 15 exhibits. Of course, yung kanyang novel, no? Limitangere, Alpili, yung mga sinulat niya, yung kundiman, no? So anything na something to do with revolution, no? I-present pa na gabing ebidensya that Rizal is the principal, no? Or the leader of the revolution. Then, Judge Advocate General Don Nicolas de la Peña recommended to trial, detain, and to defend by an army officer. So, para makita fair, so actually, this is done during the time of Governor General Ramon Blanco, no? So, fair kasi si Ramon, parang fair si Ramon Blanco. So, that time, it was defended, no? On December 8, 1896, binigyan siya ng listahan. Listahan ng different Spaniard, no? Lieutenant or mga lieutenant, no? And then from the list of these lieutenants, no, nakita niya si Luis Tabiel de Andrade. Siya yung kanyang pinili. Bakit siya yung pinili niya? Kasi nung unang-unang umuwi siya sa Pilipinas, 1887, meron siya naging kaibigan, si Jose Tabiel de Andrade, kapatid pala niyan, no, si Luis Tabiel. Naging friends sila. Pinabantay siya kasi that time yung Governor General was si Governor General Emilio Terrero. Nung in-examine kasi ni Governor General Emilio Terrero, wala namang masama sa no limit Tangier. So, he believed that Rizal's life was in jeopardy or in danger. Kaya binigyan siya ng parang personal bodyguard, and that was Jose Tabiel Andrade. So nung pinapili siya, parang of course sound familiar si Luis Tabiel de Andrade, siya yung pinili niya. Kaya lang hindi naging successful, no? Bakit? Why the trial did not succeed? Parang sabi nga, it's a kangaroo trial. On December 11, 1896, Rizal was accused, the principal organizer and living soul of the Filipino insurrection, founder of societies, author of books and articles, periodicals dedicated to fomenting and propagating ideas of rebellion. So, yun na yung kaso niya is as the principal organizer and living soul of Filipino insurrection. But at the time, he was regarded as Filipino na, no? On December 13, 1896, Dominguez forwarded the paper of Rizal case to Malacanang Palace, and General Camilo Pelavea appointed Governor General of the Philippines. Okay. So, ganun nangyari. Kung nakikita nyo, why there is an instant transition of governorship, no? Kasi nung na-accuse si Rizal, nung in the process yung kanyang trial, ang Governor General ay si Governor Ramon Blanco. Kaya lang, behind this, may mga friars o mga pare na talagang ayaw nila kay Rizal. Gusto nila talaga mamatay si Rizal or ipapatay siya. Ngayon, aware yung mga paring yon, those friars, no? Parang ang sama ng mga pari that time, no? Kung titignan natin, of course, ganun talaga that time. Kung titignan natin, hindi dapat mamamatay si Rizal kung hindi lang pinalitan si Governor General Ramon Blanco. Kasi si Governor General Ramon Blanco, parang nakikita naman siya that he's fair, he's judge. At hindi siya madidictate ng mga pari. Di ba yung prelocracy na sinasabi na last time in the 19th century Philippines, part pa rin yan. So, all of a sudden, inappoint si Camilo de Polavea because they are aware that Governor General Camilo Polavea will somehow accuse Rizal and somehow he will follow the will of the friars, no? Or mga priests, o mga pare. And during the trial, no, on December 15, 1896, Rizal wrote a manifesto to the Filipinos appealing them to stop the necessary shedding of blood and to achieve their liberties by means of education and industry. Kaya lang hindi na nagmaterialize yan. Ito yung manifesto na sinasabi. Actually, Rizal is not the only one who wrote a manifesto. Even Jose Burgos, no, si Father Jose Burgos, he also wrote a manifesto. Siguro before the pinasusulat talaga ng manifesto, no. Yung manifesto pinapa-stop ni Rizal yung revolusyon. December 28, 1896, of course, Polavea approved the decision of the court-martial and ordered Rizal to shot at 7 o'clock a.m. 7 o'clock in the morning of December 30 at Bagong Bayan Field. So meron ng order na he will be executed. December 29, 1896, Captain Rafael Dominguez read the death sentence of Rizal and then from the morning, no, as early as morning, ang dami nang bumisita sa kanya. Nandiyan yung mga naging teacher niya sa Ateneo, si Father Miguel Sedaramata, Father Luis Bisa, na may hawak-hawak sa sa ginawa niyang sculpture ng Secretary of Jesus, and Rizal was able to confess, no? And December 30, 1896, 6:30 a.m. nag-death march sa Bagong Bayan, from Fort Santiago to Bagong Bayan. Medyo malayo-layo rin doon, no, kung nakarating ka na sa Fort Santiago. From then, bago siya i-execute, no, through what we call firing squad, si Dr. Felipe Ruiz Castillo examined Rizal's pulse and found out to be normal. Bakit kaya tinitignan yung ganun, no? Ina-examine na kung okay ba siya o hindi. Kailangan pa ba yun? Is that necessary? Oo, parang necessary yun. Kasi ayaw nilang mamatay yung ina-execute nila na mamatay sa maatake sa puso o kaya mag-collapse during the firing squad, no? Kaya yun. So, 7:30 a.m., December 30, 1896, Rizal died at age of 35 years, 5 months, and 11 days. Yun ang nangyari sa kanya. So actually, my discussion it's not as elaborate, no, hindi ganyan ka-elaborate katulad ng dati kasi nung dati twice a week tayo nag-meet o kaya ano and then medyo mahaba yung meetings. Kaya somehow it's somehow more than a summary naman, no? And Rizal, last word, consummatum est. It's a Latin phrase or a Latin word. Ibig sabihin, it's done, no? Consummatum est. So these are the references. And that's the end of my discussion for Module 2. So let me stop my sharing. And then let us stop also the recording.